is an Ifugao who is now based in Canada. Now, she is sales coach who is advocating authenticity and selling. For her, this process helps us evaluate and align our actions towards our greater goal. She got this from her mother's beautiful conversation with longtime patron when they were still a market vendor. So, Imie, welcome to the show called Self-Made.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, meeting you last year, I'm very inspired when we're doing the bringing new women together. That was exciting. Hearing your story when I was there, I was inspired by how you started. So can you share with us your childhood in Philippines?
I was born in Benguet Mountain Province. That's near Baguio. And then my parents moved to Nueva Vizcaya. So I can speak Ilocano and Ifugao. And so, but when they passed, when I was 8 years old, we moved to Ifugao to live with my grandparents. There were times where we would cross at least 2 rivers to go to school, from our house to the other, almost like the other mountain for primary, or an elementary. So we'd have to cross we carry the books and all that. Sometimes we get carried away playing in the river and never make it to school because it's too far, right? But at least 2 to 3 hours to go to school, but we didn't see it at the time. We didn't see it hard. It was just the way it was.
Yeah.
That was just life. It's interesting that you asked me that, because I was sharing this to somebody and I didn't realize that the point of view that I had, I didn't see it as hard.
Mm-hmm.
From looking at it from now, it's like, oh my God, did I really walk that? That was just like, how did I manage that? How did we manage it? When we walk to school, sometimes it's only a trail. The animals that stick on your skin, I forget what it's called. And they just stick on you to make sure you keep wiping it off. And then of course we didn't have shoes, right? And when there's typhoons, muddy for 3 hours, and we go back to school. So it was challenging. I went to school carrying my brother behind me because I wasn't allowed to go to class because I was carrying my brother, right? Okay. So I would stand in front of the door and still take note and listen.
Oh wow!
Because I didn't want to miss anything. That was the life, and I didn't think like, oh, this is hard. It's like I can't do this. But looking at it from now, it's like it was what it was.
So it seems that you're so passionate at the young age. You never look at it as a negative thing. You don't complain, but you're having fun, whatever it is. Even you go to school and it's raining, you're having fun.
I think that's the way we was brought up in the mountain. Is everything is survival. My father was a hunter, so I used to follow him in the forest.
Oh my God!
And one thing that he taught me, he said, you can follow me, but be warned, you cannot make any noise. And I learned to there's branches coming here and that, and the terrain is difficult. So you really, and there's sticks that if you step on the sticks, it will make noise, right? So you have to really be flexible so that you don't touch the leaves and you don't step on the grass, so it'll make noise. That was his warning, because you can disturb the animals.
It's a strategy skill. Now you said you're going to school for 3 hours one way?
We went back to Nueva Vizcaya for school, and then Baguio, and then eventually Canada. My sister took me here to Canada as a student.
How old are you when you went to Canada? And you said your sister sponsored you as a student?
Yeah, so what happened was one of my mother's customer decided to take us in when my mother died. She sent my sister to Canada to work for her daughter, who is a doctor in Toronto. From there, she sponsored me as her sister because I was her dependent.
And what's the transformation you experienced from Philippines, especially in Nueva Vizcaya, to Toronto when you get there?
Well, honestly, it was, of course, culturally, it was a shock because I wasn't used to the city life, and so but I had to adjust because there's a lot of opportunity, and we really have to adjust to be able to survive.
You were 18 years old, moving to school in North America, right from the province. So it's totally different. So how you connect with your classmates?
So high school was quite difficult because, of course, I spoke English, but it's still different. There was not a lot of Filipinos back then. I was also bullied because my accent. Of course, we all have accents, right? And then my eyes too small, and so like I was bullied. So and then I missed my family back home. So it was a very difficult transition with friends here and family. My sister was here. I was able to thrive and really figure it out how to survive in this new environment.
Filipinos are the third most immigrants in Canada, right? Now the challenge there, like why so many Filipinos there also like okay lang. So what's your advice for them to really overpass? Because they can do so many more, I think, in Canada. Opportunities unlimited. But what stops them? So what's your advice with that?
What I see is that when they come to Canada from the Philippines, they're looking for that quick money. And when they get the money, they stop there. They think that's enough. Is that there is no personal development from the Philippines and in here, so they're not looking to develop themselves. So when they get that opportunity, they start making money and they start sending money. They feel like they are accomplishing what they're set out to do and to get in this country.
So a lot of our countrymen there also, like you mentioned about sending money. So what's your advice to really to learn how to save money, in short?
Yeah, my sister had a money changer, yung padalahan before as a business.
Yeah, money remittances.
So, remittance, yeah. So I was watching people whenever I visit her office and her store. And I saw how people really see sending money as the only way to help them. That's also one of the problems, I think, is that the money is the only thing that they feel they can help their family in the Philippines. And they don't invest in themselves. Many times I encourage caregivers to really invest in themselves because they are the biggest assets. Because if something happened to them, they can't send money anymore. It's hard to get them to adjust to that mentality. That self-development, personal development is what's missing a lot of the times, I feel. Because they're used to fun part.
What can we do then as Filipinos in Canada to change that mindset, to think bigger?
I think you need to come and inspire us.
You yourself is an inspirational, Imie. Like, look what you're doing. From Ifugao to Nueva Vizcaya to teaching international courses for people. It's an inspiration.
And the way I inspire them is show them that if they can sell, they learn how to sell. They can get whatever they like. They can achieve their goals and purposes if they learn how to sell, because selling is not just selling products and services. That's also negotiating your contract, negotiating pay, your employer, and all that. So what I feel I can make an impact on is teaching them that selling and negotiating is really part of life.
Now, what is selling to you?
Selling to me is being able to connect with somebody, find out what they want, really form that relationship, and then help them get what they want. When we speak of sales, we get this idea that it's like push, buy this, buy that. But really, it is deeper than that. That relationship that you have to build. More so now that our society is changing with this pandemic. We need that human-to-human connection. That is my focus right now, is to really develop them to see that the person in front of them is a human being. That when you make this connection, the magic happens.
But a lot of people also saying that, I don't know how to sell. I'm scared to go in sales. Like, I cannot pursue. the fear is there. So what's your advice there?
Yes, that's exactly what I want to change. Because the reason we fear selling is because we have this picture that's incorrect. You can help that person in front of you. And when you develop that to really professional posture, that when you're speaking to somebody, you're connecting and that you are understanding. So it's not just also that sales communication, but real communication, so that you can acknowledge. You learn how to acknowledge, you learn how to speak properly, and you learn to have that connection.
So what makes you so passionate in really teaching or helping or connecting within your community?
Because I know that we can change the world when we connect. Like, look how we connect. Connected because of my connection with somebody else, and that connection, I'm sure, from somebody else. So that connection, I think, that's when we develop communities and collaborate and change the world. Because if we work together, we can make bigger impact. We can change the world, because that is really what you're selling. You're not selling products or services. You're change transformation.
You mentioned about elevating poverty. Why you have that in you?
Because I saw in the Philippines how we really need to change. And I think our resources, we're a rich country. But the way I see it is that we really need to teach people to develop themselves. So even if they don't go to college, even they don't go to university, or even if they don't finish high school for that matter, they can change the world. They can reach their goals and their purposes. But they have to figure out that they can. They need to be inspired that they can. You'll be able to see that the barriers that we set ourselves is not really a barrier.
But you see a lot of, like I could mention, Filipinos in general here, like they're so busy because day to day they need to work to have food to eat every day. So what they should do to really think deeper, or think of setting goals, like no more time.
Being an Ifugao, I came from that tribe. I never had the idea that we were poor. We had land, we had animals, we had fruits and vegetables, and we sold those fruits and vegetables. Of course, we didn't have cars, we didn't have anything all the materialistic that we have now, but we were happy. There was nothing missing. I wish that there was more libraries so we can teach ourselves. We can read and teach ourselves. As long as you know how to read and write, you can really teach yourself anything that you want. So I wish that we had that so that we can develop ourselves. But I think we need to change our mindset and stop chasing all the materialistic wants and needs, and develop ourselves to be satisfied with the things that we already have and using our resources. I mean, if we can all farm and feed people and develop how we can export all our product, we can really do well.
I'm sure that, you're married with Canadian, and right now, like a lot of Filipinas, especially the career-oriented, they forgot getting married. So why you decided to settle down, and how you choose the man that you married?
It's funny you asked that, because it's almost similar to your story. When I was working and I met my husband at work, and my boss said, "Are you going out with this guy?" I said, "I guess so." and then she goes, "All right, are you planning to marry the guy?" "I don't know." And then she goes, "Well, make up your mind, because you are an executive and in charge of people, to be ethical, to do well. So you need to set a good example." So I went to my boyfriend then. I said, "We need to get married. My boss said we need to get married. So let's go. I'll pick a ring now."
What's your best message to all our countrymen around the world?
Whatever you think you can do, you just have to believe in it, and you have to work on developing yourself, because everything starts with us. And when you're clear on what you want and where you're going, you can get there. But you have to be clear on who you are, your purpose, your mission in life, and where you're going. It doesn't matter what way what route you're gonna take. As long as you keep your eye on that goal and where you're going, you're gonna get there.
Amen to that.
I think we share the same,
I know, right?
belief. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I'm excited listening to you. So, Imie, it's so beautiful listening to your story. I'm so inspired. And I'm sure that you can inspire so many Filipinos, not only Filipinos actually, but people around the world. Maraming salamat!
Thank you so much. And you've inspired me to be able to inspire a lot of people myself. So thank you.
This is Rebecca Bustamante, and this is Self-Made.